What's going on, workforce? Brian here.
Chris here.
And today we're talking about FanFest, Endwalker, release dates, Mail Viera, Reaper. Honestly, it felt like it was just one big surprise after another. I'm going to stay positive in this regards, but note that there's also some things that we didn't get that I was personally hoping for. We'll talk about it here later in this video. Chris, why don't you take over? What do we got to thank for? What do we got that stood out to you? Let's just dive into it.
So this video is brought to you by the 14 community. Thank you guys for those of you that came and hang out. I saw it cross like 100 and something thousand or whatever watching live on Twitch for the official 14 channel. Everybody being out, what an incredible time to be part of the community, no matter where you're at. So just a huge shout out to them. Obviously, huge thanks to the devs. What an incredible event. So far, not bad. We opened up on the trailer, and we revealed a scythe job, and then we went into a job reveal for the second new job of Endwalker after the Sage new healer, our melee, sharing gear with Dragoon. We knew all that. Two-handed scythe, going to be called Reaper.
Officially Reaper, so Templar can be put to rest, Temple Knight, everything. And for those of you, I saw a ton of excitement in chat regarding Reaper. The job reveal itself looks phenomenal. If you guys are curious, I'll have a tagged Final Fantasy XIV's official page. You can go and check it out. They've got all those clips and highlights out there for you guys to go enjoy without our commentary. We'll be sure to be kind of giving you guys further commentary. Saw a bit of confusion. A lot of people seem to expect that we would see kind of the job trailers, which will actually get around the media tour. So note that's going to be coming later this year. And honestly, I think the first thing we got to talk about beyond Reaper is the date, November the 23rd, 2021. Chris, how do you feel about that date?
I mean, I'm disappointed it's that late in the year. Obviously, I would prefer sooner rather than later. For those of us in the United States, there's a federal holiday that week that is centered. For most people, the way they celebrate is they spend that time off work with family. It's a Thursday, and so most people kind of take that whole week off or a long weekend. And obviously, last year it was all done kind of remotely for everybody that didn't want to go spend time directly with family. And so I think this year a lot of people that haven't seen their family in a while, so that's kind of a hard time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Them defining it as fall, that's like the very end of fall. Like that's winter, depending on where you live. As far as the weather goes. So that I would have preferred it sooner. It does mean for you end game raiders out there, it's gonna push Ultimate well into 2022. And so, there's a little bit of kind of a cloud around the outside of that I wish it was sooner. But most importantly, it's exciting to have a date. Early access will be the 19th, which is going to be everybody. Everybody's going to pre-order. So that just means official launch is 23rd, right?
Yeah, official launch is the 23rd.
So we're all going to be playing on the 19th. I'm really excited to be playing it this November. It does mean with 555, which I assume we'll get the date tomorrow during the live letter.
Yeah.
That if that releases in like May, maybe June, that's a gap. Like that's which we always get, but just as for anybody new that's caught up right now, we gap out.
Right now, that's an 8-month gap from today. Right now, that's 8 months. So for new players, like this is the best time. People were worried they would not be able to catch up and be ready. Yeah, you're good. Like that's actually like there's some real positives here. I'm going to talk to, like I said, I want to talk to positives. I will save kind of some of the cloudy thoughts towards more to the end of this video because, like, for people who just don't really want that in their feed, I get it. But yeah, so like honestly, like for new players, for returning players, that date in and of itself, like I don't see any negative about that because essentially whether you want to play it on the 19th, the 23rd, or you know what? That's December. You got freaking so many holidays, and 2 weeks after that release, typically we see the first raid, which puts you right into the Christmas holidays. Which, if you're especially a student, like that's a lot of time that you could kind of kick back and just consume it. So a lot of positives on that date.
Yep,
Personally speaking,
absolutely.
he said that they were shooting for October. But he said that also with Endwalker, it's just so much content, and they want to make sure that it really kind of delivers on all fronts, being that it also ends the kind of the saga that we've been on, and 6.1 starts a whole new story. So it's like Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. Personally, speaking on Reaper though, love the Void Pet ish thing that they've got.
Oh,
The avatar,
yep. You've got an
love.
avatar.
But the colors with the slashes for the Reaper, like vibrant colors, things that are just like it looks like. Honestly, that's going to be the thing that I play. Sans when we find out whatever the hell they're doing to Summoner. Like that's kind of like the caveat there. We talked about the day
It'll start at level 70. It's
Yeah.
going to start in Ul'dah. So any of you that want to start reminding yourself 8 months from now where you want to log out because you plan on starting there, it'll start in Ul'dah. It will be a two-handed scythe weapon. The pre-order weapon is going to be a scythe. Last time, I feel like, was that the Red Mage Sword?
Well, that was the Storm. Like whatever the expansion job, they pick one.
What was last time's?
Glamorous.
Gunblade, maybe?
Yeah, Gunblade. Yeah, I have it. I got the Gunblade, yeah.
I'm not your glamour guy. But speaking of glamour, I think the biggest shock, the biggest face, I don't know if any of you clipped it from our Twitch stream, biggest just holy crap is at the end, we're going out of order here. At the end, male Viera.
Yeah.
Male Viera confirmed will be the new playable race. Female Haroth is being worked on, not ready. Don't have any estimate. That could be next expansion.
Right.
But just to put it out there for the people that wanted female Roth and didn't care about male Viera, it's coming. But for male Viera was a massive request. They said a huge thanks to the graphics team for making that happen. So still technically true within the no new races, but that's a massive, massive shift. Very unexpected.
Yeah, I did not see that coming. In fact, we were all like, is this Beastmaster? Like, are they revealing?
What could this be?
Right, and then all of a sudden it was like, and then even Benny called that it's a male first. So like, I didn't even see that it was a male at first. And then it's like, yeah, okay, that's actually pretty exciting. I am not, this isn't a race for me. Like, and honestly, I kept saying, are we getting hats? Because I'd like to do a cowboy hat Haroth. And if they don't let me do that, I've already said that I'm going to go back to my L's and just call it a day. But at the end of the day, I'm thrilled that that's happening. Did not see that happening whatsoever. Said that due to just the outpouring of demand, the art team has been working very hard. And they debated on doing it together with the female Haroth and having it later. But they're like, hey, we can actually get this done. Let's put that out there. And it was nice that they also confirmed female Haroth at some point down the road. So that way we're not seeing here chat going, what about that? And then Yoshi P not actually addressing it. So both sides have been addressed in that regards. You want to talk about zones or do you want to talk about...
I mean, we're talking about the end reveals there. The thing that I think was the closest for a keynote where I could feel my eyes maybe getting a little heavy, a little like, man, is this going to make me cry as far as what moved me more than... Remember, we haven't gotten job changes yet. That's typically the job changes stuff is more like a month or two out. So expect that the real fall. But the thing that will move me more than anything else, I knew we were getting expansion. I knew we were getting Pandemonium. I knew we were getting a new Alliance Raid series. All this stuff we'll get to in a minute is Oceanic servers.
Yeah,
a new data center for Oceanic. I look forward to going back and seeing what people like Ethis and Hoopo and which was previously Hilmi Harry and Gerald Hart, Skill Up, all of these, the many of you in the community. I have mailed Lunar Whales coasters to Australia. I know you guys are out there with Data Center Visit, which is coming in likely 558, and will be worldwide. They now don't have to leave behind the friends they've made on JP or EU, and they can go somewhere where the majority of their play experience is a reasonable ping, and they can have a free company that forms where they can have friends that can have events and meetups and things actually in their part of the world. There are so many aspects of this. It makes me ask, do we get a fourth fan fest? It makes me ask, do we get Australian events more supported by the community team? Just in general, this also tells us 7.0 won't be the end of 14. You don't roll out a new data center if you only have one expansion to go. So this is good for all of us. It's a huge amount of money and time and resources. There will be free transfers for people that need to make a move over there during a limited time window. This is massive. I think it's the single biggest announcement we've gotten.
I think for me though, like it speaks to, I think they're coming for WoW. Like coming at this is there's more expansions, But at the end of the day, like their WoW has oceanic servers, 14
It's
really
one of the
has.
things that sets WoW apart.
And it's like, hey, here we go. And with their plan, they want to grow to 30 million, etc. And obviously, right now, like if you ever go out to YouTube, there's the season of where WoW is exciting, and then there's the season of well, why I quit WoW and went to 14. That's what's all in my feed right now. You watch one, and YouTube's like, here's every video that's been posted about that subject in the last couple of weeks. But I think that's going to be a big, huge factor. I think that's going to allow them to bring in more players who might not have joined in because of that fact. Do you play on NA? Do you play on EU? Do you play on Japan? And how that community's just been segmented
Yeah,
across those 3 data centers.
absolutely.
Now, okay, guys, we're ready to rock and roll, and I think that's going to be something. Now, they did say that's coming with 6.1. They wanted to have it with or before 6.0, but the pandemic has caused obviously delays in that regards. So 6.1, we can start to estimate that's obviously the new Ultimate sometime in 2022, most likely sometime March or February 2022. Thinking timeframes.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, so I think that's the single biggest announcement in my opinion, but we are not done. So as we move down from Reaper, just going back to the beginning of all this, a reminder of all the stuff we learned in the showcase. We are wrapping up the story of 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0. And with the 6.0, we will move to a new story in 6.1. They said the 6.0 story will be long. So they have a lot to tell us. The new hub city will be Old Charlayan. The music is a big departure. It's no longer Soken's. It's not Soken's vocals. It's vocals by Sam from the Architects. I don't know. There were people excited. But yeah, I have learned to just trust them when it comes to music. So let's do this. And then we're getting a bunch of new areas. They showed off some of the new areas. First, the Labyrinthos, the glass dome that has its own sun. Interesting choice of music.
Interesting's real polite. That's a real polite way of saying it. I think like each of the things they showed off, like outside of Old Charlayan, like when we looked at the Labyrintha, and when we looked at why am I drawing a blank? Thavnir. Like Thavnir, I love the music and the color. And again, all this what they showed us is still under development. Texture, shading. There's so much more that can be added. So like at the end of the day, I'm not concerned by any of it. But I said, oh, I really like the look of this. And then you flip it. I'm like, I don't really get the music there. Then you go to Thavnir, and I'm like, oh man, the colors. Like my eyes kind of hurt a little bit. Like it's very vibrant. You gave some insight.
Dancer.
Well, you also gave some insight into like colors and what that means historically within our world. Do you want to share that here now?
Yeah. So I mean, looking at the kind of just from a architectural historian standpoint, when you have vibrant colors in a culture, especially in a lot of dyed fabrics and things like that, that's a sign of wealth. That's a sign you're showing off because it would have required a great amount of resources to dial up colors to that level of vibrance. So looking at the significance here, as we look at the Labyrinthos, a huge Greek influence. So looking at this game from just kind of an influence, looking at it, at what parallels they could be pulling from our world. Thavnir seems to have a large Indian influence as we look further and further into the zone. Anything they've pulled that isn't kind of from India is still very like equator centric. So Africa, Central South America, warmer weather cultures and what that ends up dictating kind of how people live and how it moves. From there, we went to Garlemald, which is a huge departure, like a winter Bond movie, just a shredded, torn down city. I would love to rebuild it.
That's what you can say. Like, all right, let's rebuild this bad boy.
Let's fix it. Let's fix this bad boy up. If it needs to be more broken than that, then we got a 6.0 story. Let's tear this bad boy down and let's get to work. And then from there, we knew we were going to the moon. The moon is going to have many zones on it. I don't know how many of those we're going to be able to go to or what all is going to be referenced. Some of them have parallels. They showed us Mar Lamentorum. Lament typically, refers to something sorrow, grief, sadness. So kind of that sea of grief. We don't know, but like it looked tragic. The music was stunning, but definitely emotional music. Definitely something that felt like there was some loss there.
Well, it's
Maybe
ASEAN
picking
theme.
up off the sorts of things, without talking spoilers here,
Hmm.
the sorts of things that we would get up from a previous zone like the Tempest. This would be a sort of zone where those are the kind of feelings and the vibes that we got from that. And so I think there's a lot of story for those of us that are caught up to that maybe still have some questions, and that's the sort of zone where I would hope to get answers. They showed off some of the NPC races. We got the Magus sisters. They were super colorful,
Yeah.
like Dr. Seuss colorful.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the
Um,
Magnus sisters make their way into the game. That's for me, like when we talk about Final Fantasy IV, that's like a huge influence. That's the Final Fantasy game that I fell in love with for the first time, and I was like, "This is okay." Back in the day, Final Fantasy II, and to this day, like, oh yeah, I'm so happy to see that vibrant colors though, and it's so interesting to see all the different aesthetics. Personally speaking, like I think Old Charlan and the information they revealed about that to us was the most impactful to me, namely because they revealed originally in 1.0 there were supposed to be 6 starting cities: Old Charlan, Ishgard, Almingo, and then Gridania, Ul'dah, and Limsa. And I was like, oh, and they had to cut 3 of those. And Yoshi P felt that that was a relief because when he was rebuilding the game, he didn't have to rebuild 6 of those with 6 separate storylines. So I'm really happy to see that because we've heard of this area, this story so much, this place so much, and obviously that like I kind of just made me go, man, I wonder what the original vision of that was, and just to kind of get a
yeah,
peek in that, to
yeah.
have the original. Good.
No, no. As we look to things like cloud infrastructure, as we look to things where gaming is making these leaps forward, we're moving into 4K assets, we're moving into cross save, cross platform, all of this support. There is a shift in gaming that is slowly happening. It's hard to draw a line if it's yet to happen or if it's already happened. We will tell looking back what the moment was, but as we feel this shift, you see these long time running games. You see Guild Wars moving towards End of Dragons and moving towards there's some missing answers, and they're doing that. You see World of Warcraft going to the Shadowlands, which was in the original vanilla lore, and they're just now addressing it. You see us going to Old Charlan. You see us going to these things that got cut for budget, cut for time, and had huge impacts. They were still there. They were still in the original vision, and we just haven't gotten back to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's an interesting kind of parallel just across the 3 MMOs that I play. I'm sure there are others where we're moving into a generation where it feels like we are putting to bed the long time things that have stopped us from moving into the next generation of these games, the new Genesis, if you will, for an apt weekend phrase. So I'm excited about that. As for beast tribes and NPCs, we also know that on the moon we're getting our tiny rabbits, the Leporets. So our tiny little bunny people. The one they showed seemed to be able to wear a hat, so they are so far the superior bunnies. They could not define if they were allies or foes.
That's probably be part of the discovery. I'm looking forward to seeing
So
how that plays out.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, which was interesting. We know we were getting Atma. So as a part of like a summon, they revealed that originally, but I didn't see them. At least maybe I missed it, but like I didn't see them reveal any new primal type creatures to go fight and take on. Maybe that's more going to be Hydaelyn and Zodiark than anything else, or at least Zodiark in this case, to see how that ultimately plays out. We talked about the zones. We talked about obviously big pieces of the content, what they showed off.
Raid's going to be
yes.
Pandemonium. The Alliance raid is going to be the Myths of the Realm.
They're showing off the 12, like the thing that you
12.
pick at the beginning of the game and have absolutely no like real change or connection to. It's like because it's a part of like the story of especially 1.0, but since then
Do
it's
we
like
get 12 bosses?
well, I mean, essentially, if you think about it, you get 4 per. There's 3. That's 12. Like, are we going to fight the 12 as a part of this real Alliance raid? I can't wait to see how that ultimately plays out. And it's a fantastic name, and the art that behind it with the obviously the chapel in Gridania. In the shroud, I was like, oh man, this is something I've been longing for. Now, here's the thing about it though, is
That was
that
Alliance raid. This didn't like Eden, so
right?
this will
But
be
Alliance
right.
raid would be
I thought it was at
6-1.
first, and I got that mixed
No,
up.
no,
This
no. This
is our 24 mans.
yeah, 24 mans. So meaning that this would be 6-1, 6-3, 6-5. Therefore, this is completely separate from the Endwalker storyline. So this could be maybe more integrated into the storyline we're about to transition into, or just be something fun, piece of the lore that's a story that they've been wanting to tell us for a long time.
Okay, so before we get to kind of how you're feeling, you've sold me. You've sold the package. What's going on? First of all, Lunar Whale and the 3 minions for FanFest are up right now, and they are on sale. So they are $37 on sale and $42 if you wait.
Yeah.
So that's available right now. We gave away some on stream today. We're going to be giving away more on stream tomorrow. And they're out there. Once you buy one, it takes a couple hours to get one. They went over the collector's edition. We've got a physical, we've got a digital, we've got just the base version. They said the word pre-order now on the stream. We don't have a pre-order date. The site, of course, is crashing as everybody slams into it. And so some people are saying they can get in, some people aren't. We don't have, they said the pre-order now. So be checking the pre-order site, especially if you want those physical collectors, because there's a limited number of those. And it's not a limited number that I think people who are really aiming into this weekend won't get one. Maybe there is, but definitely try. But it is a number that like, oh, I'll just wait till like October. Don't do that. So if you want a physical collectors, and then keep in mind that physical collectors for places like PlayStation and Steam, where historically getting codes to you and stuff has been an issue, that's separated. So they actually have a base version or a digital collectors that you buy, and then you can buy that. Like if you want what was the physical collectors for Steam and PlayStation, it has its own physical box, so that if there's a delay in shipping or anything, you've got your code that you purchased through Steam or the PlayStation Store, where they don't sell the physical stuff, and then you've given Square the physical just in case, because we've had issues with that in expansions in the past where they've had to like give people temporary codes and then they have to like put a different code in on this is better. Benny said this is where everything's moving to, separating out that physical stuff. Not something I've run into because I live in a tiny house, and so acquiring physical stuff is not something that I have the ability to do all the time.
Right, exactly.
We don't have prices on them. I assume that'll be on the website because that'll vary by region. So, what are your thoughts? That's everything we've learned. We know about Sage. We've had the showcase event. We've had Keynote now. How are you feeling about this?
A few concerns, in this regards. Like, I'm positive. Like, it's like, this is what I wanted. But to talk about what I didn't get, obviously we didn't get a new platform like Xbox. I didn't see anything about GeForce Now. Like, some additional locations I think would be really good for the game overall. But you know what? That was a long shot. I'm still going to be hoping for it. It does tell me, like, I would say that without them doing that at this time, then it doesn't make sense for them to. I don't see them doing an Xbox release at a 6.1 or a 6.2. They could always surprise us. Heck, we got Viara, but at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I guess we're just not going to see it on Xbox this expansion, and say, okay, there we go.
You want to pay me the $1 million gal now, or do you want to wait till the end of the weekend?
I'll wait till the end of the weekend because we'll see. Well, you never know. And then but then it will have some kind of touch with Game Pass. Is the million gil? So that could still come out. So I'll pay you the $1 million, and then if it ever hits Game Pass, then you just owe me it back with interest. At that point, like that was the bummer. I think overall, like I said, like I'm excited for new players and players who have a lot of things to do. But I think the summer is I go summer and fall. Like that's 8 months from now till release. And for those of us that have like done a vast amount of the content in the game, like that's a long gap that we're gonna have certain things to do. So like, are there like that's where I was like, are we gonna see like a Beastmaster kind of thing to kind of, hey, this is gonna be something we're gonna add into the game that's going to help just kind of fill in that gap. Blue Mage has been a ton of fun and a way to break things up. Like them going and saying, hey, Blue Mage can now come into into Deep Dungeon, go nuts, go break it, but it's not going to be part of leaderboards or scores or stuff. Okay, fine. Like I'm hoping that we'll get a touch of that with the live letter tomorrow, where they start talking about patch 5.55, as well as like, hey, Wednesday does Henry visit? So there's going to be plenty of things I think that will be enticing to vets. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, we have a date. That's great. there's a lot of things that I think that gives me an opportunity to go and make sure that I have time for. Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis being one of them in June, and then we have New World launching in August of this year itself. So I think for me, like, I'm like, okay, cool, this is a good opportunity to play a handful of other games because I'm already caught up. And then if you haven't caught up, this is good, plenty of time for you to do so. So it's not like the worst case scenario, but it is like when he said November, that's what Mione was predicting. I was thinking October, but
I was thinking October.
November just feels like it's a long way away.
And it's not beginning in November. It's not like, oh, like 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 my favorite month
Yeah.
in Texas is October.
Yeah.
And my wife has a lot of family members whose anniversary falls in October, and so she didn't want an October wedding. So we got married at the end of September. So like it's not like, oh, it's in the last 7 to 10 days. It's not in the first half. It's not like if it was November 12th, if it was November 8th, November 3rd, what I don't know what days of the week those are. I'm just pulling numbers out. That's something where I would have been more like, well, what am I gonna really, but that, I mean, that's a full month and a half after the time that I wanted. Um so it's definitely a bit of a sting. I think I'm really excited for people that wanted Male Viera. I'm really excited for people that wanted the Oceanic server. I'm really excited for people that are now looking to main Reaper, looking to main Sage. I'm excited that my tank queues are going to be just negative time. I'm not even going to have clicked join the queue, and it's already going to be popping. Like, I'm really excited
System's
that
gonna beg for you to like press.
he's gonna beg. Yeah, I'm gonna the duty finder's gonna pop up when I log in. Please tank something for all these players that are gonna go.
Yeah.
Now there's gonna be a bit of a lag. They're starting at 70, so that's pretty typical. With the pre-orders, we'll see an earring again. We'll see a minion again. So that's very similar to last time. We'll see a weapon, which will be a nice scythe. I'm. It's an emotionally exhausting couple hours, so I'm still not totally processed. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing what Island Sanctuary is. They referenced it as a piece of content, but like that doesn't tell me anything. I'm looking forward to learning about Ishgard housing. People are already asking about housing on the moon. We're not done getting the housing from this expansion. And they said that there's going to be a change. They're looking at making changes to the way new plots hit the game as far as acquiring them to help crack down on RMT and on kind of the stress on the community. Any change to the housing system would be a welcome change. It is hard to see how they could make it something that would frustrate more people at this point. I'm looking forward to, there's a lot of information I hope comes out of this weekend as we get into panels, as we get into a live letter. So I think mostly at this point I just have questions, and I'm excited to play, and I'm bummed that it's so far away.
Yeah, the Reaper looks so good. Sage already looked good in and of itself. And then, at the
I'm
end
not even a melee DPS.
Right. Well,
ever.
Again, like my thought was like, unless Summoner has some kind of real enticing thing to draw me back in, I really see myself. It could, but I'm like, well,
there's 17 other jobs in the game, soon to be 19. So you're 5% of the jobs. And so to say like that's the only job that has to be fixed, I think isn't fair to the other 95% of the base. So like I hope every job is something that people enjoy.
I don't actually do like Summoner Scholar if unless there's something that like I see at the media tour to say yes, that's what I got to do first and foremost. Yeah. And I can't wait to see what they do. And based off of the already rumors and the interviews and things like that, that's going to be coming out. The nice thing also that will be coming over the course of these next couple of days and weeks is we'll be getting new interviews. We'll be getting more information. It's so much stuff to unpack. I cannot wait. I need to go. Like after all this is done today, I'm really looking forward to going and watching Ethys's reaction, getting seeing what people are talking about online beyond just kind of our takes on this, because it's always exciting to get a wide range of what people are excited about. What they can kind of bring.
How excited are the buns over in Zeppela's stream at the Viera?
100%. Like that's like I never would have guessed that they would have done that, and that's just incredible. And who knows? Like I can't wait to see what they bring to the live letter tomorrow, because that's going to help answer some of the questions about like, oh man, this summer and fall it's going to be jam packed with 14. or it's going to be like, yeah, you know what? It is what it is. Go nuts and have fun. So that's going to be exciting to see how it plays out. Right now, I'm just kind of watching a lot of the different artwork that people have submitted for the art contest, and it's some really
I've got it
impressive
behind
stuff.
me on stream as we kind of wrap up the keynote as we're in the intermission before the rest of FanFest continues through the weekend. What a blast!
What a blast, guys! We'll be giving away more lunar whales over on Twitch if you want to come hang out. We're also streaming, this whole event, and we'll be live again tomorrow night as well. So hopefully you come, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe button, share. And if you ever get I think we're supposed to be getting the clip feature here on YouTube at some point. So if there's anything that stood out to you like, or if there was something silly, be sure to clip these videos, clip the different things, share this out. We'd love to see them as well. So anyway, Chris, any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
No, I'm going to stay up through all of this. So I know a lot of people wanted the keynote and they're trickling off to bed, depending on where you live in the world. I'm excited to cover the rest of this. I've shifted my sleep schedule for the weekend. So we will continue to update you here as we learn more with both our opinions and the news and, what you guys are talking about. So keep sharing with us what you guys are excited about. Brian and I are not the only viewpoints in the community. We don't want to be. We're hoping you guys are excited and you're getting the things you want too. Even if it's things that we didn't think, we were like, oh, okay.
All right. All right, guys. For Work to Game, my name is Brian.
My name's Chris.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully you have a fantastic day, and we hope to see you next time. But until then,
take care.